Wait, wait.
Hi everyone. Okay, with that being said, Errol, wait,
Well,
question. When you drink a whiskey sour, right? Like what whiskey do you think is best paired for your whiskey sour?
Man, I don't really think that into it. I just say whiskey sour and hope for the best.
So you have no
I
preference?
No, not particularly. No, I can't really taste the difference in whiskey itself because it's more like the whiskey plus the sour is just a completely new thing. So I'm not like too into like whiskey sours or cocktails or drinks. But actually, the last night I was asked like, "Hey, you want a whiskey sour?" And I'm like, "Sure." And then the
Last
bartender was
night.
like, "Okay, like which?" Yeah, she was like, "Which whiskey do you want?" And I'm just like, "Oh, you pick." There's so many options, but like
Oh gosh,
I
you're one
really
of
don't have a
those?
preference.
No.
I
What
don't
about
drink
you,
whiskey. I
George?
think it's like a bit of a old man's drink, kind of.
Really
It
interesting.
yeah, like I
I go
think
fuck
maybe
myself.
it's kind of have it's having a resurgence in terms of how many people drink it, but overall it's kind of an older person drink in my opinion. I
Okay.
like to stick to like I guess uh drinks from the vodka family because gin is kind of like made
Yeah,
from
yeah, yeah.
vodka.
Right.
So I would say both gin and vodka are my favorites. And gin and vodka based drinks, cocktails.
Yeah. I think vodka has a pretty good like there's a good place for it, at least for me. But I don't know. I've been kind of a whiskey snob as of late. Like it's kind of there's a whole like thing with it. There's a whole like lineage of different types, right? Anything between single malt to like not single malt, different, ratios of corn, sort of like whatever they put in the mash, right? How do they like process it? What sort of cask they are in? It's like a whole, I don't know, an art, if you will. It's kind of crazy.
Cast is in the caste system, or what
No, no,
exactly are
no,
you referring
no, not that
to?
one. Like cask, as in like what sort of barrels that they use to like store the whiskey and age it, right? Um,
Hmm.
there's like a whole thing, and I like have been kind of getting into it, and I'm like, whoa, there's like so much. Like, if you guys didn't know, bourbon, right? It's pretty much like American whiskey, right? Like, I
Mm.
didn't know that until like just
Yeah,
recently.
I heard about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, but I recently got myself also a bottle of like Maker's Mark to try out, and it's very different than, like maybe a Irish whiskey or a Japanese whiskey. It's very different. They're all kind of different. It's at least for me, they're different.
We suddenly
I didn't even
turned from a
know.
tech focused podcast to whiskey review. I like it. It's unique.
Mm.
Definitely
Errol,
niche.
you were saying something?
No, I was just surprised that you said like Japanese whiskey. I didn't even know like Japanese had whiskey.
Whoa, what? Hold the phone. What? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to spend like the whole podcast on just talking about whiskey. That would be hilarious though. But there's a whole like subculture of whiskey devoted to Japanese whiskey. And usually it's single malt Japanese whiskey. Like like at
I've
the
heard of
high
it.
ends of whiskey. Yeah. So like next to your
Oh,
I would say Macallan's, even maybe like, you can have Johnny Walker, all these sort of things that are more of the, non-Japanese. The equivalents, or maybe even just slightly more like different, but like same equivalent would be like Hibiki and Yamazaki, which is actually what I'm currently drinking right now. Yeah.
I've seen that
Yamazaki.
bottle.
Yeah.
Show it again.
So it looks like this. This one is actually the secondary because they made two versions, which is like the 12 year and then the 18 year. And then it was like so it blew up, right? Like it was so famous that they had to restock. And so now they have the Distillers Reserve, which is kind of trying to copy the 12 year. The 18 year is still like apparently better though. Yeah. Yeah. It's a whole thing, guys. It's a whole thing. I think you should try it, Errol, but don't get it as a whiskey sour. I think that would do it disservice,
No.
quite frankly.
I would never. Something
Yeah.
like that. No. Whiskey sours
Mm.
is good where it's like you go to a bar, you know that they're gonna have it. It's gonna be good. It gets you fucked up. It's not that strong. not that if they make it right, it shouldn't be too sour. It's always a good mixture, and everyone always loves it. When people ask me like, "Hey, just give me any drink," I am always like whiskey sour.
Interesting. What is your guys' favorite drinks? Like if you go to a bar, any sort of situation, like usually for relax, not for like business, for relax, like entertainment. Like what is if you were to look at a menu and you were to assume this menu had like all the normal ones, right? Like what would be your normal drink that you would gravitate to?
Whiskey
I have
sour.
two.
Carol's like the one he's one-shotting this. Like whiskey sour is the answer, man.
It's always
Is this like a paid podcast by the Japanese?
Yeah. Oh man, you found me out, man.
Try it today.
How did you know?
Wait, but George, what is F2? Isn't that like formula, like racing?
I said I have two drinks.
Oh,
First,
I thought you said F2.
yeah, F2. This cocktail nobody knows about. So first is the Moscow Mule. You probably haven't heard of it. That's really good one. Besides one thing, the fact that it comes in those like iron cups, and they make you look like a complete loser. So when they put them in the glass, that's okay. But when they put them in those iron ones, I hate it. This is the only downside, and then just the gin tonic, I would say.
Gin and tonic, classic. It's very good. I usually go for just actually a neat vodka. That was like my choice, but now I will definitely be more gravitating to. I would gravitate definitely more to whiskey because that's like any establishment has these things. They either have vodka or they have whiskey. I'm not really too like into beers compared to these two items, but if I do see like a plum wine all the way. That's just me. I don't know. I'm a stickler for plum wine. I'm a total slut for that shit. Like it's super sweet. It's very low like alcohol content, but it's so good.
What's it used for?
I'm sorry. What do you say, Errol?
Oh no, like George, you go first.
No, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just asking like what even is plum wine? I don't know what it is.
So plum wine is exactly what it sounds like. Usually when you have wine, it's made out of.
You've had it in China for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yes,
they love it.
Stuff like no tomorrow. I don't like Maltai. I will say that. That like I am not into that. I'm not into Baijiu. I'm not into that.
I like
not
Maltai.
into it. But plum wine, as I was continuing, Errol, is pretty much how like regular wine is made out of grapes and stuff like that. Like they were just making this type of wine with with plums instead of that, right? And so you will usually find this drink in obviously China. In Japan, it's a very big thing. Korea has some of it. Yeah, it's just generally like something that is very Asian in a sense. A lot of people drink plum wine. Yeah.
Just made with plums though. But is it like dessert? Is it like you have it with
very
meat?
Dessert wine? It's very sweet. Usually put it like in the fridge. It's not something you just drink out of the bottle. You want to freeze it. It's kind of like a rosé, if you will. It's very like even sweeter than a rosé, to be honest.
I don't know wines, man.
It's fine. Rosé is like one of those I guess dessert sort of wines, like usually you chill it and then you drink it like when you're eating dessert, right? Because it's sweet. I'm telling you, I'm like almost becoming an alcoholic now. Like my alcohol knowledge is showing now. It's kind of messed up. Yeah.
No, don't ever apologize. It's good. Drinking like alcohol, the entire world of like cocktails and drinks, it's pretty fascinating, honestly. And
yeah.
I don't know, like, does that make you an alcoholic? Well, maybe it can suggest it, but I think you're fine for now.
Have to. Errol, I have a very important question. Where are you?
Yeah. On the toilet. No. So okay, let me just show you guys, I guess.
All right.
Actually, hold up. Ready for this?
Dude, he looks like he's in like a Minecraft hut. You know what I mean? Like kind of with the yeah. This looks like it was made in Minecraft.
Like a little, like a restaurant or something.
I'm It's like a little cafe, but they have like this like back corner that just has like a single bench. Like, hold up,
Okay,
look at this.
dude,
It's just got like a bench here and then like a little
dude, it's
table.
Minecraft themed.
So I've just been right? It's a Minecraft thing. Yeah. So I'm just like, yeah, I'm just chilling here because my apartment right now. I have this other guy staying with me right now. That came out a little bit wrong. No, I have a friend of mine who's staying in New York City, and he's like right now passed the fuck out on my couch. So
Hmm.
here I am.
Is it because of Friday night? Was like something going down? Do you guys
Well,
like party or something?
man, I don't even know what we do anymore. Like it's like no one plans anything, and then we end up just going out and being like, "What are you feeling next? What are you doing next?" And it's just like I don't know. Like it's always fun, but
Hmm.
nothing too crazy. Just kind of like bar hopping a little bit, going to see other people, saying hello to other people.
Yeah.
Very chill, I would say. Nothing
How has
crazy.
life been in New York, given the fact that things are like getting more expensive?
Yo, not only that though, I'm talking with more people, and more people are telling me how difficult it is to find a job.
Hmm.
Like it's bad. Like I'm meeting so many people who are like, yeah, I've been searching for a year now. I've been having applications sent since I graduated college last year, and I'm just like, oh my god, like holy shit. And even like a lot of like tech people I'm like meeting and just like at like parties or bars, they're like, "Hey, where do you work?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm a software engineer at so and so." And then a
Hmm.
lot of times they're like, "Hey, are you guys hiring? You guys have any positions? Refer me, yeah." And it's just like that's just where we're at right now. It's just very bad. And as you mentioned, prices are rising. Jobs, I guess, are not too good.
Hmm.
But yeah, people are struggling, man. It's
I
not good.
was talking to my aunt who lives in Brooklyn, and she's like, "Yeah, we spend like $5 for a carton of eggs now." Is that like
Hmm. I
five
mean, I,
dollars?
I I don't buy eggs.
So you don't buy eggs? Okay, well, I was like, when I heard
I
that, I
eat
was
out,
like,
man.
"Damn, that is high as hell." Like $5
Yeah,
for
That
eggs.
I think people are even
sounds
priced
about right.
out traveling to New York these days
Hmm.
because it's just so expensive.
Yeah.
Like, for example, my friends, like a distant friend of mine from high school has a wedding in New York, and my
Hmm.
friends are going there. Like my business partners are going there, and they're gonna spend around $2,000 just on the hotel and the flight. But of course,
Jeez.
it's a long flight from Kuwait to New York.
Yeah.
But still, that's insane. And then like food is going to be like another thousand probably. They're only there for a week, but it's just it's insane. It's
Wait, is
almost
this
like you could
one way
go on
or
like
like
three different
full
trips
trip?
for that much.
For full like round trip or for flight direct?
So 2000 is like hotel plus flight,
Okay.
but like nothing special.
Hmm.
And then they're budgeting for at least like another thousand to stay there for a week,
For like the food
and
and
like
stuff.
3K for like even slightly less than a week is just like insane.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true.
And that's, if they go out at night too, if they want to party,
They
They
I
might
mean,
don't
even
blow
that's
spend
that
like
gonna,
easily, right? Like if they're
yeah.
really partying. Yeah.
that's
Ooh,
another thousand,
yeah.
right?
That's crazy.
Fuck.
I wanted to go as well, but I was just like, it's a bit expensive. Maybe another time.
It's,
Mm.
yeah, yeah, man. That's the thing. Even like touristy stuff here in the city too. Like I learned that real quick because I used to work at this like touristy like observation deck here in the city.
Yeah.
And when I worked there, tickets were $40 each just to go up to the 100th floor. And I never thought that it would have been that expensive. I would have thought it was, honestly, I kind of thought it was free. Like, hey, like maybe they just gotta make people go in slowly so it's not overcrowded. They gotta space people out. But no, like it's $40 a person, and we were packed nonstop. And I'm just like thinking, like there are a lot of tourists who come to the city, and I don't even know how much money they spend. But like, if it's $40 just to go to an observation deck, like just to go outside, I'm like, holy shit! Like the entire city is so fucking expensive. They're buying taxis too. They're going to like Harry Potter World. I don't even know how much Broadway costs these days.
Ugh.
And then the entire city is just getting so crazy expensive. But just for anyone to even visit or to live here, especially, is fucking dumb. I mean, I'm an idiot. I'm not financially responsible. it's not good here, guys.
What thing I
Would you
really
say
like?
you need like 100K? Just a question.
Yeah.
Did you say you need
Yep.
like 100K to feel even like barely comfortable in New York?
Mm.
Yeah,
If
like
you don't have a home real estate.
I make yes. You need at least 100K. You need to make at least six figures in Manhattan. You cannot live here unless you like have like three roommates, like four roommates. You really can't. It's just it's so bad here. I mean, I'm not like broke by any means. I'm not like crazy rich, but for the amount of money that I and okay, there's not really a way to say this, but it's like for like when people hear my salary, they're like, "Holy shit!" Like it's like it's not like you're doing fairly decent for yourself, right? But at the same time, like just living in New York City, all my expenses are pretty fucking high. Like my rent is crazy expensive.
Yeah.
Me just living in the city and eating food, groceries is crazy fucking expensive. And
Mm.
so
How
like
much
I
is your
really
rent?
feel like I'm kind of just getting by. My rent is 3,100.
Per month. Shit, bro. Yeah.
It's bad. And that's
I
like
wanna.
and that's what like I tell people too. It's like it's not that much money. Like yeah, they pay you like fairly decent, but it's like you're not like balling out. It's just everything is fucking expensive as shit.
Yeah, my whole house is like much less than that. It's
Yeah.
probably like
And
2,000 a
I have
month, but I have a whole house.
and I have a studio. I have one room.
Yeah, I have 4 bedrooms, a giant kitchen, giant living room, giant like, just whatever. Like there's just like all of that.
And it's like I I don't know. Like I said, I'm not financially responsible. If I was intelligent, I would actually have somebody else like living with me
Hmm.
because that's the smartest thing to do in New York City, right? But I just love living by myself so much, and I can't stand it.
Oof.
No offense to you guys, because I think we probably like had a few like hotel rooms or Airbnbs together. But
Mhm.
I hate sleeping with other people. Or just like living in the same bed or apartment. It's
Oh, he
just
doesn't
I
like
fucking
to
hate it.
sleep
So
on the same bed as other people. Interesting.
I know what
no,
you mean. That I know what you
I
mean.
can't.
Even with like
Like
the people you like, it's just uncomfortable. I get it.
Mm.
yeah,
Same for me.
like
Yeah.
it's like yeah, I just don't like it. But George, I mean, like I went to you. You had a nice little bedroom for me and my nice little bathroom, and I'm like, oh, this is. I would love this. I could live here as long as possible. Like, because like, you have your own space, but like I can't. Like I've
Everyone
hosted
loves
these other
that
people's
bedroom, by the
apartments.
way. Everyone who visits
It's
me, they love that bedroom.
it's so like I was texting you before too, and I'm like, oh, is it gonna be like a pull-out couch? Is it gonna be like you have like a bucket to shit in? Like, what is it? And then you're like, no. You're like, don't worry, I got you. And I'm like, nah. And then I get there, and then it's so nice. The bed is comfortable. You have a nice balcony there. It's just it's such a good time.
Dang.
And as well too, like just honestly, like I tell people all the time too, and I probably mentioned this to you guys, but of all the places I visited, I honestly think that Georgia was the probably my favorite, just because it's not well known, it's not that popular. No offense, it's not like it's not like mainstream, and
So it's
it's
like
like
a
it just
hidden gem of
I don't know.
some sorts.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, like yeah, like I like it more authentic. It's like you go to like Rome, Italy, and it's like the Colosseum is touristified up, where it's like they have bars everywhere, they have all these tour guides, there's so many fucking people. They gentrified the shit out of it. Like they will like they put fences like in the stone of the Colosseum. And I'm just like,
Mm.
this is like it's just I don't know. I have a problem with it. And I just don't like feeling like a tourist. I like feeling more like this is a good place because like they don't get many tourists here, and I only really got that in Georgia.
Mm. Interesting.
Guys, I'm waiting
Visit
for you to
Georgia.
do a second trip for us to reunite together. That could be
Mm.
amazing.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, traveling wise, it's going
Yeah.
to be interesting because this year I'm going back to the US during the like late summer, but then next year I don't know yet what I will be doing. I think obviously I'll be in Thailand for, visa and just studying Thai, but I don't know what like next year has in store in terms of travel. There certainly will be travel, but I don't know where. So,
Well, that's an interesting topic. What
yeah.
about this year? Where do you guys plan to go?
So we're going to go to obviously New York because we have some stuff that we need to like do there, whether it be changing SIM
Hey,
cards, updating like certain things like credit cards, whatever, that sort of stuff. But after that, since my sister is graduating high school, we're going to like obviously like situate her in her own college, do all that sort of fun jazz. And then my mom has it like on the journey that we should go to California and like go down Highway 1 and do all these things for like maybe 2 weeks to a month in California. So I don't know what that plan is. We have to see yet to do that. There's still like potential that we might go to Portugal. I don't know if it's this year or next year.
yeah,
I don't know, or maybe
Right.
like Japan too. I don't really know. My parents are actually this upcoming week. They're in Malaysia. Not my dad is currently here, but like he's going to be in Malaysia by next week because my mom, she's actually hiking Mount Kinabalu, which is like this giant mountain for like 3 days, just doing her best life. I'm like, yeah, go mom, you can do it, right? But that's crazy. Like that's what she's doing, Yeah. So
That's
traveling is definitely going to be more like frequent because my parents are retired. They want to travel more, right? Like this is their favorite hobby.
yeah, and yours too. I know.
Yeah, it is certainly my favorite hobby. There's a lot of things that you can do, but like it's kind of weird because being in Thailand and then learning Thai, you kind of already feel like there's so many things to do here. Uh, like it's very
Yeah,
interesting speaking. Obviously, we did this when we were in China. We're like learning how to speak Chinese in China, like not just in school, but you can practice it outside. You can do the same thing with Thai. So there's like so many things to do here. Like coffee is so abundant. It's like crazy how much coffee you can get, and they're all like different. We just had Turkish coffee actually. This
excellent.
for lunch. Yeah, before eating some
Oh,
Vietnamese food. And it's just like crazy. Like we you can basically go for a massage anytime you want. There's like so many of those. There's so many things to do. But I would say traveling wise, there's so much like that's left on the bucket list. Yeah.
yeah. You can be a digital nomad, Get a
I
remote
kind of am,
job.
bro. Like working on a startup in
Yeah,
the most like if it's not here, then Bali would be probably the other like quote unquote digital nomad space. It's discussing like how many
yeah,
digital nomads actually live in Thailand. Discussing the sense of just like ratios. Like I cannot explain how many people are actually digital nomads here. It's very
yeah.
common to go into like a coffee shop and like all these programmers are just like huddled in a corner drinking their Suave coffee as a hipster code or like whatever, like crappy piece of
Yep.
code, right? Yeah.
It's because it's cheap as fuck there. Like it's like digital nomads. Vietnam, Thailand is great. Georgia, I know me and George saw a lot of them. George knows that. We saw them everywhere, which I kind of enjoy too.
Yeah.
Portugal also is giving visas to people who want to be digital nomads in the country.
Yeah.
Georgia
All these
is like
countries are.
the Thailand for summer because I know a lot of people. They're basically in Thailand for the winter,
Yeah.
and then summertime it gets too hot in Thailand, so they all travel to
Oh,
It gets
and
too
they like
hot, but
move
they
back.
also right now what they have
ah,
is this thing called burning season, which is they actually start to burn off crops to prepare for the next season. So it actually gets a bit smoky, but it's kind of like messed up, guys, because when you compare to Shanghai, like the smokiness, the worst days that had smoke doesn't even like feel like anything for me. I think if you guys came here and you're like remembering your Shanghai experience, you would just be like, what is this? There's no smoke here. Like there's nothing.
yeah.
It was bad in Shanghai, but I don't think it really affected my daily life. Like
Yeah.
sometimes
No.
it's a bit over like played. In Beijing, I think it's a different story, but Shanghai
Yeah.
wasn't
But
that
like
bad.
give you an idea, people are like freaking out when the PM 2.5 is like 60. And I'm like, 60 ain't bad. That's like clear skies in Shanghai. Like I've seen like 200, like, right? Like what is 60? 60 is fresh air.
Yeah. It's just all like relative because like I tell people like in Shanghai it's just fucking you have these dust clouds that just come in and it's like it's fog everywhere and everyone's like, oh, it's just very misty, it's the rain. It's like, no,
Yeah.
no, fuck no, like that's just
Yeah.
pollution. And yeah, but it's like in New York, it's just so relatively clean here that it's like anything that's like, I don't know, like 60, 70, 80, it just looks terrible. It looks like the world's ending. But I mean, I guess it was good that we went to like the worst place in the world for it. So now everything else seems very tame and okay to us now.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, we didn't go to the worst place, guys. I went to Bangalore in October.
Oh,
Oof.
You can't see like you pretty much can't see the person right next to you.
Oh,
really?
gosh.
Wait, wait, why were you in Bangalore?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I was fundraising for my startup with like
Okay.
a very large family office. I would say Forbes 100 India. It was a bizarre experience, to be honest. I was only there for 4 days. It was like I've seen the lowest of the lows in terms of like how people live, and I've seen the highest of the highs, and that was all within one 4 day trip.
Damn.
It was a bit overwhelming, to be honest.
Yeah, India has some pretty like very pretty places, and then some places are just like, I'm not sure I would want to like stay there, right? But it's very
I
interesting
had an
how there's a huge
expectation.
dichotomy. Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be like Shanghai, like China. I thought like because Bangalore, everybody talks about it as the tech city, and then like I thought it was gonna be like maybe like Hangzhou, but it wasn't. Like Hangzhou. It was a
Oof.
lot less.
It was.
I mean, from the pictures,
wasn't
it
like
does seem
Hangzhou.
like a Hangzhou, right? Like from the
Yeah, but
poster.
you just see the streets, and like they still don't have an underground system.
Mm.
And there's like 5 people on a bike. Like there's like kids on a bike, like
Oh.
toddlers.
Yeah. We see that in Thailand as well. Like, I know this is very stereotypical. I don't want to go in like into, you can talk about Bangalore, but I just want to go on a side comment.
Yeah.
Like, it's disgusting how most Thai people drive. So like very much we still rely on a lot of motorbikes, right? And I don't know what it is. It's just like it's like the shittier your bike is and the shittier your truck is, the worse you give a crap about driving. And so I've like every single week I like on the highway we always see people that like crash into one another. People like ride motorcycles without wearing helmets, and they're like super aggressive. Like they like ride up your ass anytime they're like behind you, right? And then they start weaving and shit like that too. So like it's just a recipe for disaster. I can say this for a fact that Thailand is like one of the top 3 worst countries when it comes to car accidents. Yeah, it's bad, and most of them don't have insurance. Not like nearly all of them. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I was there for maybe like 3 days, and I was crazy. Everyone was going like 90 miles per hour, no seat belts, and nothing.
Which city were you in?
We were in Bangkok, and then I don't even know where else. We went to some like surrounding cities too, but nothing too crazy.
Yeah.
What are your travel plans, by the way, Errol?
What, my travel plans?
Yeah, I know you're like in the best city in the world, but nevertheless, to like change things up every once in a while.
Of course. No, yeah, I don't know, I like staying in New York for now, but I'm thinking about like maybe taking like a month off during the summer and just like work remotely because tech software it's possible. And I'm thinking about like maybe just going to like Portugal for like 2 weeks, maybe Georgia for a week, maybe
Come to
somewhere else.
Thailand. Come to Thailand.
Thailand, I don't know, I might come by. I think like I just want to like work remotely for a little bit. I want to do that whole like digital tech thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to travel and work. Like I don't like to just go and travel for a vacation. That's just it's not really me. I tried that over the summer a little bit, and it's like even that too. Like I always did like work, or not always, but I did some work in the morning, some work at night, and so I like going places, traveling, and also kind of combining that with work.
So there's actually a term for this now because obviously I'm in the space, right? They call it bleisure, where it's business leisure traveling.
Mm-hmm.
You like to do bleisure traveling, which is a high-end trend for a lot of Gen Zs for whatever reason. Yeah.
Well, it's because we live in an age now where like you can work mostly from Zoom, or depending on your job, of course.
Yeah.
You can work from Zoom. You can go somewhere that's relatively cheap. Airbnbs, hotels, even in some places are cheap. You can live with maybe with somebody like I did with George. And
Yeah.
there's just so much more opportunity now. It's like, why would you ever stay in one place? Like, why would you be an idiot and live in New York City and pay over $3,000 for rent? It just
Those are your
doesn't.
words,
It,
man.
it really just doesn't make sense. Yeah, I know. I'm really not financially responsible, guys. So I don't know. Like I'm still thinking about it, but that's probably my game plan for the summer. Take a month,
Mhm.
work, travel,
Well, if
live
you
life.
guys ever want to like squat up in Thailand, I got you. Like I'll literally fly to Bangkok and we'll do things. Like like literally.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. And if
oh,
you want to
what
come
type of
and
things,
squat up in
Thomas?
Chiang Mai as well, like I
There's
got
things, a
a ton.
lot of things to do in
Yeah.
Thailand.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What do you mean by
no.
that? Okay, anyways, but like, yeah, there's a lot of different things. You can like anything from hiking mountains to like, I don't know, like partying on a rooftop in like on the river in Bangkok. Like, there's just so many things. There's so many things.
I heard weed is legal there now, so
Oh yeah,
Is it?
yeah. I mean, our previous podcast we were talking about it a bit. You can get anything you want from really
Oh,
everywhere. They have all the strains. Amsterdam. They have some US strains. They have like their own Thai strands. There's a strand called AK-47.
sounds about right.
Yeah, you can buy CBD stuff. You can buy your own plants to grow. It's
Really?
its own thing. It's like crazy. You can actually buy the plants to grow. We literally were walking down the like what we would call the more expensive part of Thailand, right? At least in Chiang Mai, and there's a place on Niman. Niman is like this area that this billionaire guy bought out and just like made a mall and like all these high-end shops. And then I shit you not, there's like actually a store that's 2 floors, right? And on the bottom floor, they're selling the weed, and on the top floor, they have like all these lights to fluorescent lights and growing the weed to showcase.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Listen, it's such a good business, man. Like I
yeah.
was always fascinated in that world. And it's just like you can buy the plants. I mean, like Thomas, I think that might be your next startup.
um,
Every
yeah,
single episode, we just see one more plant in the background, just
yeah. Look
making
at
a
my
collection.
AK-47 plan, right?
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
slowly building up an inventory.
Yeah, so it's a whole thing, but it's I don't know, for the most people, because it's so ubiquitous, it's kind of like the hype is kind of like dying, if you will. So I don't know if like most of these businesses would survive, to be quite honest, but it's not like ever going to leave. Like it's just like you go, there's some streets that like I can count on like one block like 5 stores that are all selling weed.
Mm.
It's all like it's crazy. It's like actually nuts how many of them there are. Yeah,
it's good. It helps the
It's
economy. It makes sense.
it does. It does for sure. Yeah. I just think like from a regulation point of view, cat's out of the bag. If the Thai government ever decides, oh yeah, by the way, we don't want this anymore, it doesn't work anymore because everyone has like seeds and plants and stuff.
Yeah.
Like you can't
There's
really
yeah.
get
no,
rid of
it's
it.
out the bottle. You can't get it back in.
Yeah, exactly. Genie's out of the bottle now. But it doesn't seem
Yeah.
like it's being like abused or anything. The only problem is when you want to ship anything out of Thailand to other countries, you're met with more like regulation and scrutiny. So an example here is that my sister lives in Brunei. Sometimes she needs some medicine or whatever. So like we don't obviously like we buy it in maybe Singapore or whatever, but it's very hard to like go and buy this on Lazada to ship to Thailand and then take this package and ship it to Brunei, because there's always the chance that like they want to look into it, inspect it a bit more because they don't know if it's actually weed, which that makes sense because it's like weed is extremely illegal in Brunei. It's like you might like die because of that, but it just makes it harder if you want to ship like regular things, like I don't know, like lotion or whatever, or not even lotion, like just regular items. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
I mean,
yeah.
yeah, it's always been like really strict down there. Like the whole like Southeastern Asia. I don't know. I always hear like all these stories about like the trade regulation, what you can and cannot do. Because some countries down there seem to be completely polar opposites. So just like completely lenient, you can do what the fuck you want, go get high, do cocaine, go for it. And then you have others like Singapore that have like snipers on the rooftops and they'll fucking shoot you if they see you chewing gum. You know, it's a very interesting region
What?
down there.
Yeah.
Right?
I would actually characterize Singapore as something that isn't that strict. On paper, it's actually very strict, right? But I think most of these laws
Dude,
are,
they whip you, yeah.
yeah, they whip you if you like have very bad, if you do something really bad. But on average, the quality of life in that Southeast Asian country is by far like hands down above other places to live in the region. It is extremely expensive now. I don't know if you know this. They recently raised like the policy for PR and stuff like that to like 3x what it normally costed. So you would have to have like millions of dollars in order to even apply to PR, which most likely would be met with like companies or like CEOs or whatever, but it won't be like regular expats or whatever. Like that's just not, it's not viable anymore. But I would say, for
Why?
example, that the drug policies for Singapore are actually weirdly enough still like more lenient than Indonesia. Like Indonesia, if you go into Jakarta and they like find weed on you, it's a death penalty. Like they actually say it on their card. If you bring drugs into the country, there's no like ifs or buts. This is black and white. We're going to literally like sentence you to the death penalty. So
They're gonna just execute you.
yes, they will. But the weird thing is like situationally, Malaysia might not have like as stringent a policy. And the thing is, it's like countries right next to each other, right? Singapore is kind of like Malaysia, and then Malaysia is kind of touching Indonesia. But you just like, this is a very, clean cut version where the policies are all very different.
Yeah, that region is very different, one country from another. Like I feel like it's one of the only places where if you have a moat in one region, it doesn't guarantee you anything when you go to the next country. Because I feel like in Europe it's pretty much the same homogenous market. Like South America, Africa, I feel like a lot more similar than Southeast Asia in terms of the societies and people's behavior.
Yeah, I mean Thailand's touching the bottom of like these countries as well, so you can even include that in the mix. Like we're literally touching borders with these countries, and yet you can't like do these sort of things as well. So like it's a very like precarious situation where we have to balance as Southeast Asian countries like what are the policies. And I don't think for sure like you would have a lot of people shipping weed over to Malaysia if it has to cross over Indonesia, for example. Like that's just not going to work, so they just don't do it. Yeah, but that means you can't
the smuggling routes,
market, right? Because also China has like